Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc., the channel all about bringing as much nerdy content as possible. Today for you, as you can see, we are in Ancient Ruins, and that right there is a victory auto battle for level 10. So that's what we're here to do today. I want to show you how you can be a victor in this as well on auto battle, so you can just let it go and you don't even have to put effort into it. That's what we're here to accomplish today. Let's get into this video. As always, if you're new to the channel, please like the video and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. I'm always trying to put out newer and better content, trying to cover as many Dragon Village Inn videos as possible. I try to do 2 videos a week. Sometimes it's a little shaky. I started a new job that's kind of put me a couple episodes behind. I'm at like 1.5 a week right now, so I got to step up my game. If you want to support me, so that way I can get more videos put out during the week, you can go to my link in the description below for my Patreon, and you can support me through there. The more support I get, the more videos I can put out on a weekly and eventually, hopefully, a daily basis for you guys, okay? So, how are we going to do this, right? So, how does Ancient Ruins works? If you haven't done Ancient Ruins yet, because you haven't unlocked it or it's just too hard, I believe you unlock it after you clear all of Nightmare mode, so the Nightmare boss dungeon. So that's where the big dragon that you fight. Once you beat that, at level 10 you unlock Ancient Ruins, and which is just essentially just an even harder version of that. You'll go through, but you're running 2 raid teams here, so it's well, 2 normal parties to make 1 raid team. It says raid party 1 and 2, so yeah. So, what is the outcome of this? Why even bother, right? The whole point of farming Ancient Ruins is to get the book of Amora, something like that. Amaru. But what those are used for is mastering your dragons. So, if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's see if we can get in there on this guy. So you see he's got this 5 next to him. That's he's a mastery skill 5. What that does, it lets you further enhance their substats, right? In some way, when you gain a level in that, you get a pick between 3 options and put a point in there, and it gives them like a set static amount of a skill boost, right, to their innate skills. So top tier teams are gonna have, you know, mastery level 10, which is the max that you can get for their dragons. As you can see, I don't have too many here. I've got 1 mastery on my light clown, 5 on my water wonder. I feel like I had 1 more, but I could be mistaken. So even I am farming them. I'm gonna cover masteries in another video though, so just letting you know, this will be kind of tied into what masteries really are. But if you want to be a top tier player, you have to do your masteries. If you want to score top 100 consistently in PvP every week, you're gonna need your masteries. So that's what we're here to do, is to farm Ancient Ruins, so that way you can get these masteries. So I'm farming level 10. Level 10 is gonna give you the your best option for farming these books, because when you increase the level, the difficulty, you increase the chance for the drop rate. So between levels 1 through 5, only 1 or 2 books are going to drop per run. And the percentage for those 1 or 2 books drop, it starts at 10% for level 1 and goes up by 5 all the way up till level 5, which caps out at, so 2 books at 30% chance of drop rate. Level 6, it's still a 30% drop rate, but instead of 1 to 2 books dropping, you have a chance for 1 to 3 books to drop. So it's a little bit better. If you can farm, if you want to farm Ancient Ruins, if you can't farm 5 or 6, and at least 5 or 6, I wouldn't bother yet, because the chances are so low, and you're only going to get 1 or 2 per attempt. You know, what is that? 1 in Yeah, if you're farming it at level 5 or at stage 4, then it's only 1 in 4 runs is going to get you a book, and it could be 1 or 2, and at best 2. So at 10 though, at level 10, this is where I farm it. So 1 to 3 can drop, and it's 50%. So half the time you run these, you're gonna get a drop. So statistically, at least, you could just have crap luck and never get anything. But that's not my fault. Okay, mathematically, you have a 1 in 2 shot. So every other time you should get a book drop. So how are we gonna do this, right? So what you start out with, you fight a massive group of enemies. Okay, so AOE on that is gonna be your friend. So single target attackers already real low on the totem pole for this. So switch over to my raid group 2 here. I'm running Mini Dragon, so Mini Dragon can target up to 7 enemies at once and just lay waste to them. The enemies you fight aren't terribly hard, so you don't have too much to worry about. My Wonder Dragons here, they have an AOE of 3, so they take them out relatively quickly. Combined with the other stuff here, and of course Varus targets I believe 5 with his attack, so they can clear out the waves pretty quickly. But that's not the challenge. The challenge is the boss that you face. So not only does he have a bunch of AoE skills, some for the top, some for the bottom, some for both. I mean, it's ridiculous. This guy he can throw some damage at you, okay? So what you're gonna want to do is to kill him as fast as possible. This isn't a boss that you really want to tank all that much. You will have your tanks out front, of course, but we'll get to that. The most important part of this whole fight, the thing that I find makes it the most difficult, is the stupid drone that floats around during the battle, and it heals the boss a lot. Just heal. So that's what a big chunk of this video is going to be covering, right? So that's what we're here to stop. Also, the boss has multiple attack points, so you can AoE him with your AoE attackers that you use to clear out the hordes. So those AoE attackers will benefit you there as well. Okay, I have a cat friend here. Okay, so dealing with the drone though, what I was originally doing, my original strategy, was I was using my light clown dragon to just single target the drone and just obliterate the drone. That worked really well till about stage 3. And then I couldn't one-shot him anymore. As long as I could one-shot him with a single target attacker, I didn't mind it so much, except for I had to manually do it because the AI would never single target with my one dragon that can nuke the drone and target just the drone. No, that would never happen. So that's why what this build is for auto. Okay, if you have an amazing an Iris or something that can just decimate, or you want to target the boss during its weak stage when you can hit the target, and you have time to manual, then go for it. But again, that's not what this video is about, okay? This is about turning on auto battle, putting your phone down at 500 wings, and letting it auto battle while you sleep. That's what I do pretty regularly. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here. So what we're doing is heal block. Dark Wonder Dragon is amazing, and he's pretty easily obtainable. He is a dark type, but he's only a 4-star. Same with Water Wonder Dragon. If you haven't got a Water Wonder Dragon yet, you're probably still pretty new to the game, as he's pretty common. You'll get one relatively quickly as long as you're playing the game, and just keep opening eggs. But it's recommended to try to run 2 of these 2 heal blockers, so that way you can alternate the skill. So when one's on cooldown, the other one activates theirs, and you can keep that debuff perpetually going. Then you don't have to worry about the drone at all. So that's the ideal scenario. You don't even have to worry about the drone. It exists. Oh well, you have 100% heal debuff, right? Heal block debuff, right, on the boss, so that way he can't get healed. So then you just gradually work him down. As long as you're surviving, you'll be fine. So that's what I'm covering right here. Is you're gonna, while you're doing this surviving, you're gonna need your tanks out front because he does some damage. So your top team here, your bottom right guy, he's gonna get hit the most, and just reversed on the bottom team, this top right guy, he's gonna get hit the most because they both face the boss like this, right? You got the top team, the bottom team, and they're just shooting down at each other. So I'm actually going to just go ahead and jump in here. We'll auto battle while I talk, and I think that'll show you best. And then I can point to it with the mouse. So those are the guys that are going to take the most damage because the boss is in the middle and they're top and bottom, right? So boss sits about right here, and so he's shooting these guys the most. Okay. And you'll see these guys, they'll go into zombie state real quick. Of course, the AI finds it necessary to heal them, even though they have no health, and they're just going to die again immediately. And again, running Witch Dragon. If you haven't seen my video on how to beat the game, check that out, because that's where I talk about Water Wonder Dragon and Witch Dragon used together to beat pretty much any scenario that you're in. I've had this, I've failed this a few times. Every once in a while I do fail, but I'll go in and look at it, like wake up in the middle of the night, look at my phone, and my counter up here is at like 56 minutes, and the only 2 dragons left are my zombie state dragons because they just don't die. The Witch Dragon has increased the zombie state cap for them to ridiculous amounts of time. So that's what zombie state, or that's what the Witch Dragon does. The zombie state, it just keeps increasing time, and so yeah. Witch Dragon was long dead, and they were about an hour deep into the battle and still alive in zombie state. So that should tell you how, like, impossible it is to kill these guys. The boss, there's no buff removal. He doesn't remove buffs. So as long as you're in zombie state and you can keep zombie state up, you're good. You're golden. Okay? Also, water... and as he misses right here, but Water Wonder Dragon has his AoE skill has a stun. So since I don't have the double debuff of heal block on my teams to keep it going forever, running both Wonder Dragons together, Dark will keep the heal block, this plus sign right here with the down arrow. He'll keep that up, and when that's down, the Water Wonder Dragon, his AoE will actually stun the orb. So you'll have it stunned, and then when the stun ends, and then you put the heal block up, no problem. So that just gives you more time while this is on cooldown or you're recharging mana. And speaking of recharging mana, that is the next key point to this. If you'll notice, both of my teams have a way to recur mana extra fast. Mana recursion is crucial. Your skills, you're just throwing everything you got at this boss as fast as possible. If you've got dragons that aren't on cooldown timers, then you don't have enough mana regen. Okay. I'm using Fire Cupid for my top team. It's not the most ideal of all the ways to do it, but I think it works for what I'm doing here for my auto team. Every time a two mana cost skill is activated, so if you'll notice, all these guys are 2 mana costs for all their skills, it gives me a recharge timer boost. Also, Witch Dragon here, I believe it's like every 18 seconds or so, I get 1 free mana. So these 2 guys together just crank out the mana recharge like nobody's business. I mean, like I was saying, almost all my dragons are on some sort of cooldown almost all the time. So yeah, literally just 1 here, and that's the healer. So the healer doesn't activate all the time anyway. So much better. But I do need a healer on here just in general. I went with a tank healer just to play it safe with Venezi here. These back guys, the ones that you're actually healing, they're not DPS. These are not the Witch Dragon and the Fire Cupid here. They're support types. I mean, they're not there to do damage. So if the only people I'm ever going to heal on this team is my support types in the back, why not just go with a dragon that gives them the defense boost, you know? So when he heals, he gives all of them a defense boost. So that's the idea. See, there it goes, and then defense up. Boom. Jumping down to the bottom team, so same premise here. We've got Light Pharaoh Dragon, which gives us free mana pretty quickly. It's pretty often that he gives an extra mana to the bottom team down here. Mini Dragon, just DPS. This is kind of the team that you want to focus on. This is the team that's going to kill the boss. Okay, the top team, the idea is to keep the heal block on and stunning the drone, so that way the bottom team can then go in there and just beat down the boss super fast. So unfortunately he keeps putting a speed debuff on these guys, but oh well. So mana recharge as well as an attack buff. So Light Pharaoh, once again, great choice, because his passive also every 18 seconds or so gives an attack boost to the rear 2 allies. So put your 2 DPS in the back here, and there goes Mini Dragon. Almost every fight, but boom, fight's over with, about 4 minutes. I was going faster than that, about 310, 320, but I ran into consistency problems. I would lose probably 1 fight every 4 attempts. So at night, whenever I'm putting on auto battle to go to bed for this, I would wake up and it had done like 3 attempts and then failed. So it became incredibly crucial to have a more consistent team. And so that's what I did here, is instead of running 3 DPS, I've dropped it down to only 2. And Mini Dragon is pretty good, but as you can see, it just goes down so quickly. Not too much I can do about that. I threw in Power Dragon to kind of increase the consistency, because he does that absorb effect, so he can take the damage in place of them, which is usually Mini Dragon, but not all the time, and that's why it goes down. As well as, since I'm autoing, the AI has the tendency to want to use everyone's skills, including Light Pharaoh, who I don't want to use. But when Light Pharaoh shoots it, he creates a barrier that creates that absorbs damage based on the health. So as a tank, he has a lot of health, so the barrier has a pretty hefty amount. As well as Water Enix has a passive that creates a barrier every so often, just to help further bolster these guys. I was running, who is that? Earth Smart Dragon right here instead of Water Enix, as well as instead of Power Dragon, I was running them both together, Water Enix and Earth Smart Dragon, because Earth Smart Dragon, when it heals, it gives an attack buff. So combining that with Light Pharaoh, these back 2 were getting multiple attack buffs constantly. I mean, even Varus has a passive where he has an attack buff almost constantly once you get his skills up. And so he had like about 3 attack buffs at one time. So he was doing crazy damage, but again, the consistency, I was still dying too much. So I had to go in and kind of bolster the defenses a little bit here. But if you notice, both teams are in the attack formation, so we get an attack bonus. I feel like that's pretty important. These guys up here, they're in zombie state, so what do they care about needing any sort of other bonus but attack? And the reason I'm using Water Enix instead of the Earth Smart Dragon, because of the revive effect that Water Enix has. If I had another option, I would probably switch it out. Maybe move Power Dragon up, or Light Pharaoh up, and then Power Dragon down here, and then an attack buff healer again. It's just another strategy I could go with maybe in the future. But so that's what we're doing here. So just to kind of recap what the strategy is. The best way to beat this whole dungeon is heal block. Okay? Heal block is the most important aspect of this whole thing. The longer you can keep heal block going, the better your chances are for just clearing this fight. Good DPS is pretty important, because the longer the fight takes, the higher the chance of just dying is. So make sure you're using some really solid DPS here. Like I said, AoE works pretty well because there's multiple target points on the boss. But I mean, if you want to use Light Clown Dragon, also a good option because his skill reduces the defense of the target. So having another debuff on the opponent that decreases the defense, I mean, that's useful in itself. That helps every dragon out here, not just itself. An attack buff only helps the dragon that it's on. A defense debuff, though, that helps everyone, even the healers. It helps. Okay, so and the light clown dragon just hits like a ton of bricks. So there is that, as well as one of his passives like shoots off just a storm of cards that kind of shoot all over the place and hits the enemies at the rear, which will pretty much always be the boss. The boss is pretty much always at the rear. So Light Clown Dragon is another good option for this because of that, the decreasing defense as well as just the raw damage that guy puts out. I think that's most of the high points for this. A lot of people, what I was noticing, including myself, they were more worried about just trying to kill the drone here, and rather than going for the more obvious route, again, the heal debuff, just prevent the heal altogether on the boss, and then you got no reason to even kill the drone, because if the drone can't heal, it's not like the drone does damage to you. Just get the heal debuff, stuns, attack buffs, mana recharge. That's number 2 thing after the heal debuff is mana recharge. You want all your dragons just firing off as soon as their cooldown is up, shooting with their abilities. So you're gonna need a lot of mana recharging fast, as well as cooldown timer reductions. I know it's kind of hard to fit all these things on one team. I wouldn't say there's any perfect way to do it that I can think of where you're going to cover every single aspect perfectly. I'm sure there's one out there. If you have a list that covers all these topics, put it in the comments below for these people. I mean, my team kind of works as is, kind of approaching 5.5 minutes here compared to my other times, which are a lot quicker. But we also lost both our DPSs, so that's unfortunate. But we still managed to pull out ahead with the auto battle still. I think I clicked one skill one time to make sure that they got the heal block off. Only one book, but hey, at 50% chance, I would rather have a more consistent time than anything else. So there's lots of different mana batteries in the game. I use the Fire Cupid for my team up here because they're all 2s. If I had another Cupid, God, I feel like it's Earth, that recharges, it triggers the recharge rate on 3-cost mana skills. So if you put that on like your bottom team, right, and then both your DPSs are 3 mana cost attackers, that's going to give you your mana recharge there as well. That's just my recommendations for you guys. If you have any comments, make sure you put them in the comments section. If you have any more advice, maybe for me, for any other viewers that I might have missed, please post it in the comments below. I do appreciate that. And if you enjoyed the content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm always putting out Dragon Village in videos as often as I can, at least one a week, if not more. Okay, but with that, we'll see you next time.